22nd of September 1941. Kapitänleutnant Weiss, Seiner Majestät Unterseeboot 305, Logbook. Position: 63 nautical miles west of Monrovia. The Cape Verde Plain quadrants remain our most lucrative hunting grounds this autumn. We haven't seen a syndicalist escort ship in weeks. Last night, we caught 5 British transports deep in the water with cargo, crawling along at 8 knots, searchlights up. The Brits thought they had protected their merchantmen by putting prominent gun emplacements on them, but all they achieved was getting them reclassified as combatants, which means we don't have to give them warning or time to evacuate. This didn't sit well with the men at first, but after we've been depth charged near Lisbon last month, the tone has changed. The freighters are easier targets these days. Seems the crews are green, no proper training. We came up to Periscope at 1500 meters, and there they were, sailing in column, lights up, searching the water. We sent 2 fish out at the lead, 5 other boats with us, and 5 on the other side, so even if they spotted them and evaded, they'd still be caught. A few minutes later, 2 hits, one dead center below the ship, breaking her in 2. She didn't even have time to catch fire, she went down so quickly. Weather is choppy. We got signals from U-308 yesterday that the offensive in France is going well, so when we're back next time, it'll be wine and steak in La Rochelle instead of beer and kraut in Hamburg. We want this war to be over as much as everyone, but we'll damn well do our duty until then. We are indeed sinking transports pretty much unopposed at this point. So the Unterseebootflotte is sinking British transports, Russian transports, and whatever else they can get their hands on, and without an intervention of any kind of radar groups, which have been taken out by the German battle groups. So that means we are probably poised to send some ships across the Atlantic towards Costa Rica, where the Costa Rican troops are, by the looks of it, struggling to defend themselves against the onslaught of the Central American Confederation. We shall see. We shall see how long they can hold, and if we can get there before, if they can get there before San Jose falls. Otherwise, we will have to probably launch a naval invasion from Cuba and liberate Costa Rica again. We have an available research slot, so let's have a quick look. We've got 1 on economy, 2 on navy, 1 on tanks, 1 on artillery. Is there anything that's still... Actually, yeah, advanced computing machine is something we can already start. And 206 days, and then we get the research bonus. So let's get that going. I've got another ace pilot. That is great. And we are slowly starting to build up a little bit of political power. The war support should be improving due to the propaganda that we're running. There is a potential... Yeah, we could run the bolster spirit. We could run the bolster spirits as well. And enemy bombing is mostly doing damage in on the Eastern Front, but this would be something we could do. Other than that, Eastern Front is preparing. We're sending the Marines who have captured Tours now over to Mykolaiv. And they will be preparing. First, they need to get refitted a little bit, train some of the new recruits, and then probably work towards a breakthrough near Zaporizhzhia. And we'll see if we can. I don't think there is there's no supply hub in the region. So we might break through a little bit south and try to cut off the Russian troops in the south here, and see if we can potentially. We do have another group of Marines. They might be ready by then, 6th of October. Yeah, probably. So we could launch a simultaneous naval assault on Sevastopol, and create a pincer movement to cut off both Crimea and the southern flank, and begin a destruction of the Russian army. Talking about destruction of the Russian army, we are starting to move into Russian territory proper. Now the Ottomans have laid claim on the territory here. Azerbaijan is in the Reichspakt Zor. The Ottomans it's, I think at this point, really going either way who takes control of the country temporarily. It's mostly about the essential oil resources. We may as well trade with the Ottoman Empire if necessary. They have done a good job. Iran is somewhat struggling in the east, but I think they may have fought the Russians and the Indians somewhat into a stalemate here. Again, this is a problem that the Ottomans can solve themselves relatively well. They don't need us for that. So the other front, obviously, where fighting is happening at large numbers is in France, where we are pushing south towards Bordeaux, and at the same time, that's the western assault. The eastern assault with the regular assault divisions is attacking at this point Lyon and is about ready to take Lyon, and that means we can. Then from Lyon move forward south towards Marseille and take the French capital, and see if the government still decides to retreat further, or if at that point they will give up. But we'll get there. The first refits have begun, and they are going to be completed hopefully towards the end of the year. But we are going to need a couple more dockyards to deal with the last one here. So I'm probably going to complete where are we, September. Which one is going to complete next? This is one of the Zander classes. Yeah, let's finish this one up, and then we are going to divert the dockyards for refits. We are short on aluminium, so let's sort out the trade situation. And I think we can just trade a bit more from Italy. That is usually due to the fact that we are we're not refitting. So whenever I'm actually refitting older frames, older airframes, then like here, for example, then that costs less aluminium. So that means we're now trading too much aluminium, which means I can redo that again. So I'm just going to have to constantly adjust that, simply because the amount of aluminium and rubber needed means that we might be trading too much at some point. Interesting political developments. It seems that after all the bluster of retaking the Pacific Islands, the Australasian Confederation suddenly sends a non-aggression pact, a request for a non-aggression pact. We see, of course, through this thinly veiled deceit, because there is no way that the Australasian Confederation is interested in a pact of non-aggression. They simply want to lull us into false sense of security, want us to remove the troops, and then spring their own surprise attack. No, we will decline this. And it looks like the rest of the Entente is jumping in as well. Germany East Asia wants to help the war effort in the Central American Confederation. No, you stay in Africa, please. Flanders Wallonia can join. They are not needed that much. They're not needed that much anymore. Ukraine, you're needed on the Eastern Front. Middle Africa, you are going to stay. Belarus, you're going to need on the Eastern Front. New England, no, we are not signing any pacts. Liberia, no, you've taken your sides. Same with you. And Lithuania, no, you stay on the Eastern Front. Baltic Duchy, same thing. Poland, same thing. And Kingdom of Spain, no. Yeah, we are seeing through these attempts of the Entente. They thought they could spring a surprise on us, and they are seeing our rapid advance through France and our troop deployment in North Africa and in the Pacific, and think they can get away with this. They cannot. We have been deceived one too many times, and we shall be deceived no further. After almost a year of holding out under enemy aerial superiority, the Luftwaffe has finally arrived on the Eastern Front. Faced with over 2,000 enemy fighters, 1,000 enemy support planes, and 200 medium or heavy bombers, The Luftwaffe is now bringing 2,000 fighters of her own. The thing is that these are all experienced air wings, and they come from the battles in on the Western Front, most of them, and they are more than capable of taking on the Russian Air Force here, and that should hopefully, and we will see how that'll go, but that should hopefully diminish. First of all, diminish the amount of bombs being dropped on our own troops, and at the same time wear down the Russian Air Force and get ourselves ready for a counterattack. So that's ongoing. And with that running, we can focus once more. Where are these troops are still moving towards Brest, and then we can focus once more on the war in France. But we do have to, once the troops are actually ready in Brest, we need to have a slightly more capable group of ships to escort them. So I'll probably pull some from the currently refitting second Schlachtgeschwader. Let's bring the we've got a von der Tann, so Moltke should be reasonably quick, and we've got she can bring. I only have one München class light cruiser around, but that should do. And then we'll bring 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers. And that little task force, we don't know if the Americans are going to bring more, so maybe it's better to bring a larger task force. Let's see. So we've got 2 carriers, 2 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, but we are short on escorts. We've got 9 escort ships in the groups currently. One of them is repairing. So if we take all the destroyers and the Breslau, that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 escorts, so we can bring 2 capital ships. So we're bringing the Moltke and the Tirpitz. Okay, so that group is going to be a new task force, and that task force is already in Normandy. They are going to go into a separate Kaiserliche Flotte, and their task will be the convoy escort from Brest to, where are we going first? Probably Havana. So they are going to have to cover wherever the ships are going, probably through here. Okay, so that should hopefully cover the route that the troops are going to be taking. I'm not yet going to activate that. Just getting the ships ready, and we'll send them to Brest, and they can escort the assault divisions on their way to Central America. Port facilities in Madang are complete, at least the first stage, which means that Paulus's 12th Army divisions can now actually line up on a front line and begin planning the taking of Port Moresby, which is going to be the obvious target. And from there on out, we have staging grounds for a potential naval invasion towards Brisbane. So when it comes to war with the Entente, then Unternehmen Vogelsang is going to be ready to go. We might need an airbase here as well. So let's build a bit of infrastructure around the whole thing, and then don't need a huge one. A level 4 airbase should be sufficient. So prioritize these tasks, and that should. We'll expand the port facilities as we go, but that should be getting ready. In China, we are still moving into position for an assault on Pyongyang. The 2 assault division that took losses during the transfer are still at half strength, so we'll have to wait for reinforcements to arrive for those. Which means when it comes to fighting right now, we are going to focus on the positions in Russia as well as as well as France. So let's head back to France and take Bordeaux. Have we got the Air Force on the right track here? We've got tactical bomber wings. Please all head south. We don't need to fight in Western France any longer. We're almost done in Western France, so we'll send them south already. And I don't think we have any opposition at this stage. There are still fighters up in Western France, so we'll actually a fair amount of 450 fighters. So we probably get all heavy fighter wings concentrated on France, and make sure that we shoot down the last remaining enemy aircraft here. And then we will break through the lines further. 6 French divisions against 3 tank divisions is no contest really at all. We'll need to pin the troops here while the tanks are advancing. And the immediate counterattack obviously is not going to deter us very much. So we'll go around, encircle them, and push them back. Tanks are already moving. Okay, and we have encircled the enemy troops. Infantry tanks from La Rochelle can clean up the position in the north, and we can already move on towards taking Bordeaux. The rest of the group is catching up, and at this point the French actually start having holes in their front lines quite significantly. There has been a little bit of a push in the north, but I think we can probably divert the 6th Panzer once they have destroyed the French north of Bordeaux, and divert them east. We're already sending the 4th Panzer east to go along the lines and encircle the French troops in the north that have briefly retaken positions north of Tours. Dornier can, this is for medium class air defense max speed, good stuff, we can take that. We've also, I think, started going down this route, so we can get 5% air defense, 5% max speed, or production efficiency, but that's only for transport planes. Air defense production efficiency gain. No, I think streamlined fuselage is a good choice, and I'll upgrade the designs by hand because otherwise my numbering gets all out of whack. So we'll head over to the production, and we've got the Junkers 88 that we can upgrade, and that is going to be the A2. Save that, and then we've got the Dornier 217 that we can upgrade. That is going to be the A2 variant as well. Okay, and then we just need to exchange it. If you're wondering why I'm closing this, if you don't do it, the game will actually create a new production line. So you have to close it, open it again, make sure you get the right one. This might have been fixed in later versions, but I have a pinned game version here, so to make sure that's all right. All right, and I think we're still trading a bit too much for aluminium, so let's cut that down. There we go, that's better. We've got 3 military factories, so where do we need to increase our production? Let's have a look. And I think we are actually doing all right in terms of Air Force. I'd like to have a few more heavy fighters. We have taken a few losses, so we haven't really created new wings, but we have a fair amount of, we can actually create about 3 new air wings at this point. Alternatively, we can further improve the production of the, now we actually have 30 already on the mechanized equipment. So, amphibious tractor. Well, we were going to design a, it's one factory, so we were going to design a light tank. Oh, actually, yes. It wasn't supposed to be this one. I was supposed to do the amphibious drive. There we go. And Henschel is going to be, yes. That's the one we need. So 140 days, and then we can design an amphibious tank. So in the meantime, I guess we'll just up the amphibious tractors. This is going to be equipping the new and improved Marines. Now dockyards are available. That's due to the fact that we're just refitting right now. Let's have a look if there's anything else that needs refitting. I think these are all good, and this are older heavy ships that are currently parked for maintenance. So the answer would be no, which means we can probably. We don't have enough for the fast raider just yet that I was going to design. We could look at a new cruiser because we also have a new cruiser hull. So if we were to design a fleet cruiser, and I don't think I'll have enough naval experience for that, but just to take a look what it's going to be looking like, put a cruiser engine 3 on it, decent cruiser armor. Still don't have better secondaries, and I think we're short also on the improved cruiser guns. So we still have the 150mm L55s, and we don't have the improved ones just yet. But if we were to build a gun cruiser, that would look something like this. We have a bit more space, but we don't want to drop the speed too much. So I think throwing one torpedo tube onto it, bringing her down to 30 knots, and potentially another battery. So 31 knots doable speed for a fleet cruiser, and that thing would have 36 light attack. Let's have a look at how that compares to the, which one was the last one? The Rhein Class C. Would be slightly more firepower, but she would actually have torpedoes. She would be faster, have a longer range, and be using a bit more fuel actually, but have also generally improved stats over the Rhine. I think it's not worth it just yet. I might just get the improved guns unlocked before we do this one. So I'm gonna hold back on that for now, and instead we are going to. How many do we have? Oh, we've got a fair amount. We've still got to finish off more of the Geleitgruppe. So I'm just going to bring another one of the Zander class. And actually, we could try to start building more capable ships again. So this one has the S-Gerät. She does have a fire control system, which is probably unnecessary. We could reduce the production cost a bit by just taking that down. She is a convoy escort, so we could reduce the engines here, and we can do with 105mm against. She can defend herself a little bit, but we would be getting improved depth charges. That would be what that would look like. Is it worth 10? And it doesn't really make a huge difference in terms of production cost. I think we'll stick with the Zanders for now a little bit. We could upgrade them, but it's not really worth it. We'll build a couple more of the Zanders, and eventually we will once we have the free dockyards, we'll use them for something else. Right, back to action in France, where the 4th Panzer is now moving east to deal with the situation there, and we're going to get the 6th Panzer to join forces, and these two will start pushing, widening the front lines and dealing with the positions south of Tours and pushing towards Orléans. We do have the 5th Panzer that can join them as well. So let's create a breakthrough. Potentially 5th Panzer can move just towards Bourges and break through there. We are about to take Bordeaux in the south, and we can leave 1 Panzer division behind. and then we can expand further towards Toulouse and see if we can encircle things there. We have taken Lyon, so the infantry can once more go on the attack, and I think the French. Well, it turns out it wasn't necessary to run any further operations. Even without taking the capital, the French have capitulated. Now that was apparently due to political instability, because it seems like the government was not as much in control as we actually thought it was going to be. So we have taken 20,000, actually 36,000 rifles and various other equipment, and the Commune of France has capitulated. William III has announced that the cowardly Communard nation could no longer withstand the pressure from the overwhelming presence of German forces throughout the country. The Communard government chose to flee the country and has gone into exile. Their main forces have capitulated, and the German Empire is now in control of their home area. Though the war against what remains of the Third International continues elsewhere, this is a great victory for all of the Reichspakt. Indeed, this changes the strategic situation somewhat. There are some exiled British troops here. Let's see if we can manage to destroy these before they can get out. But that's about it. So France has capitulated, which means we now need to actually potentially deal with guarding the ports. This has completely changed the situation. There's a large number of Italian troops on the French front as well, so something that we might need to leave a bit of a garrison. But that has significant impact for the front as a whole, because that means the Second Army and Model's Third Army can move east now and reinforce Guderian's forces, whose tanks are currently running training exercises, and then we'll rejoin the forces. But that means we can now focus heavily on the Eastern Front and deal with Russia much more effectively. So dominoes falling here. Invasion of Britain is also another option. So we could argue that before we are pushing on the Eastern Front, a better use for the Sixth Army would be, who is still in Germany. A better use for the Sixth Army would be to launch a naval invasion of Britain, since we're here, to clear out the syndicalist forces in Europe for good before we swing east. And I think that's what we're going to do. So we are going to move the Sixth Army to where we're going to invade. I'd say Portsmouth. So let's move them to Le Havre. And we are going to begin planning a naval invasion of Portsmouth. So let's get, I would say, 2 divisions directly from Le Havre to Portsmouth. And that's 2 divisions. And that is obviously, we'll deal with that in a second. And the other 2 divisions will go from Le Havre to east of Portsmouth. And there we go. And that is obviously not Unternehmen Liegnitz, but Unternehmen Seelöwe. And we will probably have 4 more marine divisions available that can join this effort when they're ready, and launch a separate assault probably west of Portsmouth along the south coast of England. And then they will be reinforced by the von Kluge's Second Army. So von Kluge's Second Army is going to be positioned around Le Havre and can then set over and invade Britain. We can, given that this has happened, we probably should be awarding some medals to the panzer divisions that have been at the spearhead of this effort. So let's see what we can do here. 6 Panzer took part in the siege of Nantes and the occupation of Paris. So they will be getting the Knight's Cross with oak leaves for reduced supply consumption. And we've got the 1st Panzer, Siege of Brest. They already have a citation, so maybe 5th Panzer is better. Yeah, Siege of Le Havre. And they can also get the Knight's Cross with oak leaves. Do I still have enough? Yeah, I do. Okay, so there we go. They also have 2 commendations now. Some more commendations remaining, but we will get to that eventually once we have the political power to send these awards. All right, so slight reorganization necessary. We seem to have found a couple of French submarines, including the aptly named Fuck, which I think means seal. There she is, the French submarine Fuck. And that aptly describes the general disposition of the French at this point. All right, so I will reorganize the troops a bit. And we obviously now have von Kleist's first army, which probably will be moved eastwards. And or go to Germany, get some training done, because they have taken some losses, and then can be moved eastwards to reinforce the Russian front and get us ready for offensive operations. So this is all around great news. And this also means that Agent Polyakova is going to need some assistance in dealing with the resistance, because right now the French resistance is concentrated around the northern territories where we've invaded earlier, but obviously the rest of the country is going to join these efforts very, very soon. So let's have a look where the resistance target is the highest. I think it's about 35 around the south. And it's the same thing around the western areas. So given that she's operating in the north and is putting down resistance wherever she can here, we're going to send Franz Schulte to the south. I'll send him to Marseille. And alternatively, we might send him to, we might send him to Orléans actually. Let's see if that overlaps. No, it doesn't, because that way we can hopefully prevent the spread of resistance by catching enemy operatives before they move out. But yeah, resistance in France is generally going to be a bit of an issue. Although the now that we have managed to capitulate France, our earlier efforts of making contacts with the French opposition have come to fruition, and the general compliance is significantly larger, because the alternative government that we've supported underground before the invasion is now coming to the fore and is starting to make public appearances, which means we now have we don't have the reorganized workforce just yet, but we do have the local police force. So right now the local police force is not actually comprised of German troops, but mostly of French troops who have been groomed for this purpose early on, and who will be dealing with things on the ground. So that's all. That's very good, but still some quick reorganization needed. And the last thing I'm going to check is how much enemy air is here. Not much. So I think we've got the. I think we've still got some. We've got one Zerstörergeschwader here. We've got some tactical bombers. No, we've got 4 actually. So that should be enough. We might be able to just raise. We might need them in the east. So how's the Ukrainian situation looking? Trading 1 to 2 actually. That is surprisingly bad. So it seems like the Russians, after having their fighters shot down over the Baltics, have brought some of the more modern planes to the front line, and these actually seem to be doing surprisingly well against the German Fokker Wolves. We still got some Messerschmitts around here, but we are, we are. They're shooting down a surprising number of German planes. So in that case, we might actually create a new fighter wing. Let's see what we got. We should have a couple of older. We've got can create 2 wings of Bf-109s for training purposes, and 1 wing of Bf-110C1s also for training purposes. So these new air wings can reinforce the efforts here rather than focusing here. But we are already going to send the Luftwaffe planes. What is the most northern airport that we have? Probably Calais. So let's move to Calais and clear out. First, we'll clear out the English Channel and make sure that there's nobody left operating there. And we've got tactical bomber wings, close air support. These can be taken off missions for now and just be reconstituted. We've still got a Zerstörergeschwader here, and move them north as well, and also focus on the English Channel. I think that's all of them. So that there'll be 4 heavy fighter wings, and they can start clearing out the air over England and get ready for the naval invasion. At the same time, my troops are starting to arrive in Brest. Where's the rest of them? Please hurry. Okay, on the trains from Paris. Yes, I know you're part of the victory celebration, but you have new tasks. You need to move to Brest. And we need to reinforce Costa Rica because San Jose is already under assault, and reinforcements are desperately needed here. So we'll ship troops across as quickly as we can. General List 7th Army is taking care of port defense, but they do need additional. They have requested 12 additional divisions. So we are going to ask Flanders Wallonia to see if we can get 12 of their divisions, and they will be assigned here to reinforce the port guards against any kind of possible invasions, and alleviating the problem of German troops having to dealing with this as well. Other than that, von Kleist's First Army is going to stay in place, do some exercises for new troops, and rest and regain their organization and just refit whatever was necessary. The Second Army under von Kluge is moving north. Same with Model's Third Army, it's moving north as well, and the 13th under von Witzleben is taking care of the Austrian border, so nothing new here. That means the Eastern Front for now is just going to be fought in Ukraine, and we will see how soon the air war can be won, and then we will be getting ready for further operations there. But the promised Marines for the Eastern Front again have to wait, and they will be needed for the invasion of Britain. Of course, not to forget that the 16th Army under Halder is moving towards Brest to, once they're all in position, to ship across the Atlantic. Meanwhile, in the Caucasus, it looks like the first assault has actually failed. Let's run another counterattack here. And with air support, I think, we don't really have. We can get 1 mountain division to support, just to open the front lines a little wider here. That should give us 2 divisions onto the attack, and with some air support, we should be able to break them there. But it should be possible for the terrain is not obviously helping. But it should be possible to break them there with the mountain divisions. Meanwhile, in Germany, the war is taking longer than initially anticipated. And this can mean only one thing, just like during the First Weltkrieg, rationing time. A major pillar of the war economy is the adjustment of every German citizen's dietary plan. No more Sonntagsbraten, Sunday roast. Eat Eintopf, which is a stew, for Germany's final victory. Soon our citizens will finally appreciate again the broad variety of dishes one can prepare with potatoes, turnips and groats, just like in the days of old Fritz. We do get sausage with it, yes we do. There would be no Germany without sausage. And I think we have finished the last railway gun, so I can divert the factories from that as well. With some stockpile conversions, we can significantly reduce the amount of raw materials that we need to import. So let's cut that down for starters. And that should, I think, almost, we can cut the aluminium imports for now. And we can reduce the rubber imports as well. I think that's about as far down as we can go. And the rest is fine. Yeah, so more factories available for Germany's war effort, and we will be focusing on the attacks here. So it looks like breaking the Russian defenses here is actually harder than it seemed initially, which means we probably need to rethink these front lines. All right, let's see if we can do this a little differently. Let's send the 3rd Gebirgsdivision and the 6th Gebirgsdivision here, and they will get part of. Okay, this looks better now. So I want them all on this front line. 5 divisions, 8 army, and these 2 as well. So 7 divisions, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's all of them. And your target is Grozny. And obviously that counts for everybody, so everybody onto that. Right, so that should allow for a wider front and allow us to break the Russian defenses there, which are surprisingly strong. I do have some command power, so let's go through and see if any of the generals can be upgraded as well. We've got Model. Guerilla fighter, not that interested. And we've got von Manstein, same story. Guerilla fighter is giving you entrenchment speed, which is good, but I generally hold back for better traits. So yeah, nothing really that we can take. How is it looking at sea? We've got von Nordeck from the Aufklärungsgeschwader. He's got torpedo screen penetration, sure, we'll take it. And that is that. All right. I think we are potentially in a little bit of a lull, so I'm going to get everything reorganized, and then we'll get ready. I think the next big operation is going to be. Oh yeah, they're here already almost. Next big operation is going to be to move the troops out of Brest into the Americas. Okay, 16th Army under Halder is setting sail across the Atlantic, and they will be escorted by the Hermann Böhm's Geleitgruppe Kuba, which is moving to Santiago as well, which is going to be the first stop. So we will see if we can get the transports across the ocean unscathed. That'll be an interesting question. I think since there is an ongoing fight here, and there's actually a group of French ships busy. We've got the Lorraine, the last part of the French Navy, who apparently refuse to follow the order of surrender. It is the Lorraine, a battleship. We've got the Babeuf, and the Rennes and the Toulon, reinforcing some submarines. So they are now actually initially retreating from part of the screening group. But now, since we are already setting sail, the heavies of Böhm's group, Moltke and the Tirpitz, are actually reinforcing this as well. So we will see if we can land some hits here. Let's observe that naval engagement. That is going to be an interesting one. And Lorraine has taken a couple of hits by light guns, but it looks like the which one was it? The Babeuf actually has been the part of the first salvo from the German battleships, and also the Lorraine is now starting to take hits. Babeuf, I think, was the one. Actually, Babeuf has already been sunk by Moltke. That leaves Rennes and Toulon, as well as the Lorraine, which is the pride of the fleet. She's taken a critical hits from a group of naval bombers. It looks like the rest of the Schlachtgeschwader has joined the fray. So all of the German ships are now hunting down the last French group here, and I don't think the Lorraine has any way of getting out of there. There she goes. Lorraine has been sunk, and the three cruisers as well. So the ships are safe, and that means that the Geleitgruppe Kuba can once again return to moving on from the battle to Santiago. Next up in terms of research is going to be the advanced computing machine, and we do again have free factories and free dockyards at this point. Part of the French factories probably coming into production now as well. There's a fair amount of them actually. So we can probably increase the amount of aircraft production. I think I would love to have a couple more of the heavy bombers. So right now the Greif, we've got 25 factories. Let's boost that to 40, and that'll mean that we will have to import some significant more amounts of raw materials. German East Asia, that is going to be our primary target, and rubber obviously, and again German East Asia is where we are going to get it from. Interestingly enough, we apparently have a land bridge to German East Asia now. I am not entirely certain how, but I don't seem to be using convoys for that much anymore, so that is good news. And the last British, assist with destroying the last British troops here, please. So we'll get some of the infantry divisions that have nothing else to do. There's a British division still stranded south of Bordeaux. So let's just grab a couple of infantry divisions, and they can deal with that, as well as that British division. And that is a Moroccan division that's going to move out. All right, so the big question is, can we get our ships safely? Can we get our ships safely moved? There are the troops. Okay, ships are moving. And the big question is, can the Geleitgruppe Kuba now disengage, please, and not chase after the submarines, but actually follow the ships across the ocean? All right, the naval battle has concluded. The Irish have lost the convoy, but the French, the remains of the French fleet, have chosen death over dishonor. So in their minds, so off we are to escort the group to Central America, and let's just observe and make sure that nothing goes wrong here with these transports. There's the Geleitgruppe. They are taking a southern route, but they should join up. They should join up in the middle Atlantic relatively soon. Geleitgruppe is moving ahead a little bit because they are obviously faster than the transports, but the transports are also escorted by the regular convoy. So it's less against submarines. It's more about catching on. It's more about catching any kind of surface raiders that could be a problem. But if we are looking at Dönitz's operation across the Atlantic, there is an absolute massacre of unprotected trade going on here. So while that's happening, let's take a look back at the situation in China, because we now have an airbase in Weihabei where we can deploy two air wings. So right now the air situation over Korea means that the Japanese have a very small number of planes actually available. So I think we can take We can take 2 tactical bomber wings, and we take these 2 and send them over all the way across here, and they can run close air support over Korea. And once they have arrived, then we will launch the assault. And it looks like the 2nd and the 914th are still refitting slowly from Germany. The Japanese have reinforced Pyongyang, so I think this will be an interesting battle. Out of curiosity, is this a river crossing? Let's just do a probing attack, and let's see. This is not actually a river crossing. Oh, so we could isolate Pyongyang from the south. Pyongyang is a port, but that might actually be a good first step, honestly. So stop the probing attack, and I think we'll send the existing assault infantry south, and try to take the positions south of Pyongyang while we're waiting for the planes to arrive. For the now that the Japanese have such a massive force at hand there, I think it's a good step to actually start working on that. All right, we are decrypting the Russian ciphers still, which means we can probably start boosting that a little bit. So let's divert some factories on that. And while the troops are moving into position, we'll take a look back at our divisions moving through the Atlantic. The more interesting question is, where is the groups moving ahead actually? So they will be stationed in Cuba, and we will see if they can keep the sea lanes clear while the rest of the divisions is moving across. There is combat going on in the region, but that's just our submarines hunting down hapless enemy transports. Urgent reports have arrived from the 4th Geleitgruppe. They are being engaged. They are being engaged in the Caribbean, off the coast of Havana, by a significant American task force. We are counting 6 enemy battleships, 5 heavy cruisers, and 1 battle cruiser with their respective screening force. That means that the force we are currently sending to escort the ships is probably insufficient to take on that group. So the Americans have a significantly larger force than we originally anticipated, which means we are probably going to be needing the 1st Schlachtgeschwader as well, which unfortunately does not have enough screens at this point. So we may have to leave a couple of capital ships behind. But I think that warrants this combat warrants a larger force, because if the Americans are bringing this many ships to bear, we are looking at a major naval engagement, and they are obviously trying to screen the Central American assault. And San Jose has already fallen, so I am not sure that we can reinforce Costa Rica in time. The big question is going to be: do we continue sending the Geleitgruppe Kuba by itself? Because with this kind of enemy force reported, they might be outgunned here quite significantly. So they are for now just sailing to Cuba to escort and clear the way, but I have doubts that this is going to be sufficient. So I think we will need a larger force, and that's something that we can do in the next episode. So right now, France has capitulated. We're pivoting towards the Americas, and the Entente seems to have backed off, and was waiting to stab us in the back. So a battle in China has been joined. We are assaulting Japanese troops south of Pyongyang, and we will try to encircle the enemy troops in Pyongyang, break the Korean defense, and wipe out the Japanese army on the mainland. And then, yeah, we can also start once again launching assault on the Russians, where we are still on the defense at this point. But it is, I think, soon a good time. So last thing we're going to check is the air war over Ukraine, where we are trading not as favorably as on the Western Front. So the Russians are not to be underestimated. We're still shooting, we're still trading about 1-3, but we had a much higher kill-death ratio on the Western Front. So I think the Russians are not to be underestimated as an enemy here, and bringing more wings in is going to be essential. We've got a couple of wings that need to train up, because we do not send untrained troops into battle, but into even air battle. But yeah, this is a heavy fight. So we can also probably divert the remaining heavy fighters. We have cleared out the channel. Southern England has a few fighters left, so let's refocus on Southern England. And I think that was what's available in the area. Yes, so Southern England it is. We've got Aufklärungsgeschwader that can already move in as well and start air recon over England. So that gives them something to do and gets us prepared. We've got Marines not yet in place, I think. No, we do. Marines are in place. The next Marine divisions are going to be ready in 5 days, so they can join the invasion planning, and all of that coming in the next episode. That's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.